All right, greetings and welcome to Bettor's Last Stand. Matt and Chris with you here. Oh, what a time to be alive! It's getting nice outside. There's new shooting every day.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about sports and betting stuff. So if you want to talk more serious things, listen to our radio show on WKKX. 7 hours a week we are now, Monday from 2 to 3, and then 12 to 3 on Tuesday and Thursday. So give us a call. Tell us what you think about the world affairs. We're talking all kinds of different things then. We mix sports in as well, but now it's nice to escape and go back to sports when we have all these terrible tragedies.
Yes,
we got gas leaks out in Woodsdale area, Nashville Road's ready to explode. We got people getting shot at Home Depots.
Yeah,
it's a nightmare out there. So be safe, stay indoors,
be aware of your surroundings,
drink beer, be nice to people. So good luck. Stay Yes, I don't know. I don't even know what the advice to give people these days. You're in danger everywhere you go. So keep your fingers crossed. It could always be worse. You could be a Toronto Maple Leaf or Edmonton Oiler fan right now. So
one game doesn't make a series.
Yeah, well, we shall see.
Yes.
NHL playoffs. We're going to talk about that in depth here in the show in the first segment. Going to touch a little bit on the NFL draft, which is just an absolute wild show right now of what's happening there. There's just, you have no idea who's picking who's going to trade. It is really, really tough. Sportsbooks are going to have a really rough time as inside information starts to leak and beating customers to numbers, because there's going to be inside info out there that's going to get bet on. So we're going to watch those markets. So we'll talk about that. Talk about XFL, USFL Week 2. We got the Zurich Classic, which is a team event in golf this week down in New Orleans. Not the greatest field, but it's a cool event. A couple of good teams. And then we'll touch on MLB and NBA playoffs and NASCAR with Sam as he joins the show in the last segment as usual. We had Indy cars last week and NASCAR as well at Martinsville. So get his thoughts on that, and he's well ensconced into MLB with his Pirates now up 9-0 today and rolling right along, Chris.
Yes.
And NBA playoffs. So we'll get Sam's thoughts and picks on that kind of stuff. As I said, Buccos lead the Rockies 9-0. Before you could blink, it's already 9-0. I hear that the Pirates are talking about playoff tickets and all kind of things already, and Kutch for MVP.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I brought this up on the podcast yesterday.
Right.
The workers up there at PNC, they settled, and so they're back to work. So
it's funny how they always settle right at the time
right.
when you
exactly.
Need them,
so you'll have
for the Dodger
tickets,
games next week when Michael
ticket
Grove
sellers,
pitches.
ticket takers, and ushers will be at the stadium on. Tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow they play the Reds.
They return for the Reds, Yep. So
Buccos
and Reds, and then they host the Dodgers early next week. So
yes,
we're thinking Michael Grove from Wheeling will be on the hill one of them days. I'm sure Coach is going to be fired up for that. Split. We're going to be split allegiances there. I think I'll be rooting for Michael Grove, but
yeah, I will too. And it's funny that if the Pirates are off to an early 9-0 lead, but if they win, they'd already have 12 wins.
Yeah, hard to believe.
Coach only need 57 more wins.
Yeah, I mean they've benefited from the schedule they played, and they've done a nice job against teams. So there's a lot of bad teams from what I've seen so far. We'll talk about that later in the show with Sam. But there's a few teams that I think are a little better than I thought. There's a few teams that are about what I expected, and then there are a few teams that really, really suck. So and I just got a note that Gordy Longshaw's now on our show tomorrow. Jeez. Okay. All right. Okay. So that'll be on the tomorrow, which will be a couple of days ago when you hear this. Apparently, Gordy's coming to the studio. I'm the last to know, I guess. But hey,
Gordy's coming in.
I don't know. That's what just was known. I don't know. So all right. Anyway, back to Bettor's Last Stand here. Let's go through what happened last week in our picks. It wasn't a pretty week for us. We were down 1.9 units. So
I killed us.
Yeah, you didn't have a very good week, Chris.
0-4 in the XFL.
Yeah, minus 6.65 units, 0-4 in the XFL. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Coach up barely a unit and a half. He had Cantley in the top 5. He did have Cantley to win, but he folded down the stretch. Even Sam was in the negative last week. Jeez. Had a couple of top 10s with Logano and Hamlin and Briscoe. But nobody could get much traction. I did all right. I actually had a good week in English Premier League. I was ahead in the AFL as well, so I'm starting to get a feel of how things are shaking out there. So Overall, just a little bit below even, so I guess it could have been worse. But we'll keep grinding out for you. So be sure to check our picks out on the Bettor's Last Stand Twitter, at the Pine Room Podcast. You can get the links to all that stuff, and then on Instagram as well. Jubb puts up some of my finalized picks, and I'll picks. NFL drafts it's kind of a tricky spot for us next week. It starts the day after the show, so it's kind of tough for us to give picks. I'm gonna get some of these guys' thoughts and post those early next week, or at least when we get down to by Thursday for the day of the draft. But we're gonna talk a little bit about the draft here today as well. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of what's been going on. But first, let's talk hockey. The NHL playoffs, which is very enjoyable. It started on Monday. We've got 4 games a night, which is really a great thing. They don't take off 2 days in between like the NBA.
Yeah.
Well, Max Scherzer going ballistic right now.
This game just started, didn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell. Maybe he got a violation for something on his hands. He doesn't have a glove. Buck Showalter's holding his glove right now, and Scherzer's like going nuts. So bear with us, folks. We're seeing what's going on here as the Mets and Dodgers do battle. Scherzer just got his glove tossed back to him by Buck Showalter, and some guys coming out of the bullpen for the Mets. So if you had the Mets today, not a good start for you. I don't know.
Well, no, it's the bottom of the 4th. Okay, I thought it was earlier in the game, but still.
Well, something went amiss there. I don't know what it was. I think is that Lindor that's talking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, no. Is that not Angel Hernandez? Is it? No, I don't know who that guy is, but he looks like a dumb motherfucker and a real tough guy. So he probably tossed Scherzer out for something. But anyway, we'll get back to that as the
we'll look
information
that up and see
breaks.
what happens.
And what the hell is he doing? He's through his gum. What a weirdo. All right, anyway, back to the NHL playoffs. Same old story. Toronto, embarrassing performance last night, and then Edmonton actually played all right until they blew the game in the 3rd period. Chris, you're big on both these teams. What the hell's going on?
I'm bigger on the Oilers than I am the Leafs, and like I told you before we just started about the first score I saw was Tampa Bay 3-0 over Toronto. I'm like, my God, that's a great way to start your
listless performance. Embarrassed. You could tell how tight they were from the beginning of the game.
And so I was like, wow, and then I think was it 3-1, and then I turned it back on. I don't know.
Yeah, they made it 3-1, then they took a terrible penalty and another power play goal, and that was the end of that. No,
boy, the Tampa shut up the Toronto fans in a hurry, didn't it?
Well, and it doesn't help matters. I was lukewarm about Tampa. I really like the Kings. Like, I think they'll win that series, and I gave that out on the picks last week. Gave out that in the Jets, so hopefully you check those out on Twitter and got those picks in because they're good prices. We're gonna get into that a little bit more, but I was kind of thinking maybe Toronto, maybe this year that they could get it done. Seeing Tampa's just got to be worn out. They played so many damn games, and I remember the Penguins kind of hit that skid like that. It's just like, man, you play so deep into
the extended postseason
every single year. I mean, that's the finals 3 straight years, and you had COVID in there. I mean, that just makes for a lot of hockey in a little bit of time. So I thought maybe if ever, Toronto might be able to beat them. But then Samsonov had to start running his mouth, the goalie for Toronto, and he started saying he said like 2 days ago, well, we're the better team and we're going to win the series. Like, bad idea, dude.
Why do guys do that?
Because first of all, you're not even close to the guy you're opposing in the other net because he's already far better and probably the best goalie in the league. So you have that going. And then your team's are already a bunch of losers, and I don't dislike Austin Matthews, but John Tavares is a loser. I mean, and it's got a lot of guys. Their whole DNA is just made up to lose. Yeah. Like the Toronto Maple Leafs, literally in my lifetime, have never, ever, ever been good. And like the closest they ever were was like they made it to the Western Conference Finals one year when they were in the West, I think, and maybe lost to the Kings or something.
They might have had like Doug Gilmour.
Yeah, they probably did. Doug Gilmour and Felix Potvin was their goalie.
In the last, I think the last time they won the Cup, I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
In '67. Right. That's when the Penguins, all those teams came in.
The new teams, yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is with this, and I know the pressure is intense, and I know a lot of players that don't like to go to Toronto. Free agents don't want to go there because it's like this. You know, guys getting threatened, and I mean, it's like this. The city's, it's like they're ready to just say, "Oh, no, we can't work." All facilities are shutting down. Everybody's just in panic mode. But come on, you're playing Tampa Bay here. It wasn't like you're going to have an easy series regardless. So Toronto could be in for a difficult time. But like you said, take it one game at a time.
I look at these series, East and West. Other than the
Bruins.
Yeah, I think these other 7 series could go either way.
I agree, and
that's what's great.
It shows 6-2 underdogs now 6-2 to start the playoffs. 4-0 on Tuesday, so keep an eye out there. It's been pretty good to me right now. The only favorite that I actually bet was I did have New Jersey, which is a terrible bet. I thought they would play a little better.
Smashed.
They were horrible last night, but I think they'll settle down. I hope. But other than that, I mean, the Kraken were a good one. The Kings, the Jets. I mean, those were all teams that I was backing. The Leafs, or against the Leafs. Sorry. So look for these dogs. I know it's going to be everybody's going to be on the favorites now to bounce back here in the game twos, but we'll see. Come Friday when this show airs and you'll be listening to it, you may see that Toronto could be in a hole. The Oilers could be in a hole. So who knows? Just keep an eye out. The value, as Chris said, is not really on the favorites right now. The dogs are pretty good bets because a lot of these series are very even.
I was going to say,
and
for
even
a first
even
round,
a team like the Kraken
even.
can score enough goals if they can get any goaltending. Then they'll stick around, and they already are having 1-0 lead on Colorado, which is much more than people expected. And again, Colorado, a team that probably starting to hit the wall a little bit, and then they're a little beat up. They don't have Landis Cog, so I mean there's a lot.
Is he done for the?
Yeah, they shut him down for the year. But right now, Tampa Bay minus 140 to win the series. The Leafs plus 120. So as I mentioned last week, if you like the Devils or the Leafs or the Oilers, I mean, if you like them, bet them now because they're down a game, but that's only a game, and you can continue to get back in the series pretty quickly, but you can get a much better price than you were going to get pre-series. So that's definitely something to watch for. Bruins Crews, they had a little flu bug that was going through the locker room, but Florida doesn't have enough for them. They're just not going to be able. Their goaltending is okay. Like that Leon guy's been doing all right. He's better than Bobrovsky. He kept them in the game, but they can't score. I mean, the Bruins are a shutdown team, and they make you pay when you make mistakes. And most of the teams make mistakes, especially a team like Florida who limped into the playoffs. So Penguin fans, be glad it's not you. That's all I can say.
And that is from what I've seen so far. We always talk about how the playoffs are a different animal. I watched some of that. The Vegas and who they
Jets.
Yeah, Winnipeg. Vegas and Jets, and it was brutal. Just some of the hitting. It was clean hits.
Yeah, no, there's been a lot of hard hitting so far from what I've noticed.
Yes, and from what I saw it was clean, but I did not see the hit on Joe Pavelski that knocked him out.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad,
but well, you hate Joe Pavelski.
Nah, I mean, I just think he's boring, but I thought Pavelski kind of let his guard down.
I never saw.
I mean, that guy's played thousands of games. Like I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad. I don't know. I'd get. There's been. How about the guy that got cut last night?
I saw that you had that list. I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, that was nasty. He got hit with a skate. He plays for the Jets.
Okay.
He took a skate to the face, and 75 stitches he took in. Now this is just amazing. And I heard a guy making a point on this, so this isn't my initial thought, but I kind of had the same type of thought about this. You have guys like Zion Williamson who haven't played since God knows when. Right. And this dude gets 75 stitches to the face and comes back and plays in the game. No. And he said after the game, only thing he was concerned about on the play is that he was going to be responsible for giving up a goal or did a puck go in the net. Like that's what he's concerned about. So, again, these hockey players don't make nearly the money these NBA bums make, and they put their life on the line, literally. I mean, where in the NBA are you going to get a guy cut that he could bleed out? Like, there's so many examples of this in hockey. These guys are really tough, and they deserve the respect. And I tip my cap to them. Yep. They don't talk a lot of trash. I mean, on the ice, banter with each other, but they're hockey players as a group don't come out in the media. They don't mouth off nearly as much as these NBA and NFL guys. And I think there's something to be said for that because these guys are missing games left and right. These NBA players are an absolute embarrassment.
Whoa.
The other I saw. Giannis fell and hurt his tailbone. And do you think that would have even been an issue for Larry Bird or Magic Johnson or Isaiah Thomas? I mean, no. Remember they wouldn't even have thought of. They would have limped around James Worthy and these guys, and it wouldn't even have happened. It wouldn't even have been mentioned.
Isaiah did that.
Yeah.
Remember in the finals?
Wouldn't even have been.
And he ended up like with 25 in the fourth quarter. I can't remember if they won that, but he was. I mean, he willed himself to play. He didn't. I was going to use that as an excuse.
We're so soft. Anyway, we'll talk more about that in our other segments on the Pie Room podcast and other shows.
We'll talk about.
But
Zion.
It's embarrassing. It really is. And if you are a fan, like a true fan, and you really think those leagues are good, that has to bother you, or you're in denial, quite frankly, because you don't even know who's good in the NBA because the players don't ever play. Now you got John Morant's out, Giannis is out, Julius Randle got fouled hard the other night.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
They called that a flagrant.
Yeah, no, he was just going at high speed. Yeah, no,
but because he fell hard.
Yeah, I mean, so what? Like that happens.
I was pissed.
And then he got more on Draymond Green stomping on people. But we'll talk NBA later in the show. Hopefully not very much. As much as Sam wants to talk.
Let's limit that.
But anyway, back to the hockey. Some observations that I thought that are pretty evident right now. The teams with the better goalies are seemingly winning these games. You had the Rangers last night with Shesterkin. You had the Bruins with Ullmark, which he wasn't even really tested. You had Vasilevsky playing great until the game was out of control. Carolina and the Islanders, I thought Sorokin played pretty well. I like the Islanders in the game tonight. Wish I could give that out as a play. It'll be tomorrow. I thought the Islanders played pretty good in that game. They just they couldn't score, and that's their problem. But I think they can bounce back, and I think they can maybe steal this game tonight. I thought Hellebuck or Hucklebuck.
Yeah, the Hucklebuck.
The Hucklebuck. Yeah. Hellebuck played good for the Jets in their win. The Kings making that mid-season acquisition from Columbus. What the hell's the guy's name? I get confused with the two. Shit. Anyway, the guy they got from the Blue Jackets. Funny name, dude. God, I can't believe I don't remember that. And then the former Avalanche player, Grubauer, for the Kraken played really well. Both goalies played pretty good in the Dallas and Minnesota series. So the goaltending right now is a key difference. And then these teams that are making you pay on the power play. And I'm hopeful that the teams that I backed, the Jets, the Kings, I had the Rangers series. I gave this out as over 5.5. I think that's going to go long. I think that'll go 6 games. The Bruins minus 2.5 games in their series. I feel pretty comfortable with that. And then, as I said, the Jets and the Kings, and also gave the Jets and the Kings out to win the West. So hopeful that they'll both get through. That'll help my chances.
Jets played a solid game last night.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. I like their team. I think they struggle to score, but if they get goaltending like that, they're a team. When I watched them play the Penguins, and I remember you and I talked about it on this show, they reminded me of a team playing playoff hockey in the middle of the season. They were very, very tightened up, buttoned up in the neutral zone.
It was just like a bit,
they just didn't make mistakes. And then they get a little timely player. The other team makes a mistake, and they're ready to pounce. That first line they have is good, but they don't have a whole lot of depth.
Well, yeah, and they do things like just like with the Islanders, like they don't score, but they can shut teams down. Then if you pounce on a mistake, boom, you get a goal.
And then if they get a lead, they're even more difficult to play against.
Exactly.
So yeah, and do you have any other thoughts? Any teams you would consider backing in a spot like this? Anybody?
I just think I'm really enjoying. I mean, it's very early in the playoff season, but like I said, I think the Bruins is pretty much the only one that I shouldn't say it's a give, but it's pretty likely that they're going to advance. But these other games,
I would totally
these
agree.
Other series, I look forward to
watching
them.
Can anybody take out the Bruins in the East?
I don't know what. I would hope that it wouldn't be the New York Rangers.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't
hate
think it
them.
can be. I don't think it could be the Rangers. I know everybody loves their talent level, but I don't think they're tough enough to beat Boston. I always thought the only team that could beat them would maybe be the Islanders, but the Islanders don't have enough scoring. I just don't think they could do it. I'm not impressed with Carolina's. I don't think their goaltending is very good. I think they're sloppy. I think they can be very good at times. But maybe Tampa. Maybe it's the obvious choice. Maybe it's Tampa. Tampa could be the team that has the good goaltending, has the playoff experience, still has a really good power play. So maybe if that works out where they match up, I think maybe it's them as the best all around.
Or they're just like a team for whatever reason, wins a dramatic game in double overtime, and that just they take that momentum or an incident, a guy victim of a cheap shot, and it just brings them either closer together, and they for whatever reason, it's so unpredictable how these teams can rally and some teams fall apart. So it's wide open. So I don't know at this time next week, I guess some of these series could be over.
But there's a chance they could be some long series.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
We'll keep an eye on that. Speaking of peaking at the right time, Erling Haaland again for Man City, now up 4-0 in aggregate over Bayern Munich. And Inter Milan and Benfica 1-1. Inter Milan's probably going to go through. They're up 3-1 in Benfica. Lost Napoli yesterday. They were a team I gave on the Champions League. They hit a bad patch against a team in their own league and could not beat AC Milan. So we'll continue to monitor the Champions League. Premier League now getting tight too as Arsenal gives away another game last week. Man City is on the charge, so good stuff ahead there. All right, let's jump over to your favorite time of year, Chris. You're a big NBA draft guy and NHL. Jeez, I can't get not NBA, not NHL, NFL draft. The only draft anybody really cares about. Yeah, so you're a big draft guy, but I know you're kind of dampered because the Browns don't have a pick in the first round.
Yeah. Well, shit, they don't pick till the third round. I think they have 2 third-rounders. They pick. I think they get the 74th pick. So who knows who will be available by then, unless they decide to trade up. Yeah. So I think they have two. They have 2 picks in the third, fourth, and fifth round. So they might be able to use that to move up. But
are you still excited about this?
Yes, I am.
Are you intrigued?
I love it.
Okay,
I absolutely love it. And it's weird because I thought, well, with the Browns not having a pick, because that used to be like the highlight. The Browns always sucked, and the highlight of their year wasn't even during this. It was in the offseason.
Yeah, picking Joe Thomas and everybody getting pissed.
Oh,
like, well, we're horrible, but we got a good tackle.
Right, so. But you know what? We got Johnny Manziel, so look out. Here we go. We got Johnny Manziel. But
brilliant.
Yeah, so and I was watching a show yesterday, and just they were talking about where these guys are going to go, and you touched on it earlier about the who's going to draft who.
I mean, I've heard
is Bryce Young right now.
Yeah, right now he's now minus 400 to be the first overall pick. But I tell you what, I mean, I know follow the money, definitely. You want to be looking for these prices to shift, but the problem is they've changed so quickly. So there's experts. I've heard guys say the Texans are for sure taking a quarterback. Score by Inter Milan.
Where do they pick?
They're second.
Right. They traded that, right? Or no, they didn't trade it. They lost them.
They won on the last day of the season.
Lovey went for 2.
Yeah, there's morons.
Lovey gave Colts, a big fuck you then.
And now they pick second, and they don't know what they're doing. But D'Amico Ryans, to me, it seems like a defensive pick would be. So I've heard guys like experts say 100% they're taking an edge rusher, and then I've heard another like guys who say they're important. And again, Mike Florio, who was on our show on the radio, he didn't want to really talk about the draft because he doesn't like it.
No,
which I don't blame him. But it's got to be hard for guys like him. You're getting so much misinformation out there. These teams are trying to keep you off their trail, off their scent of who they're going to take. So who are the Texans going to take? 100% a quarterback, well, an analyst says, and another guy says 100% a defensive player. How are you supposed to know that then, or figure something out? Like I don't know. Like to me, none of these quarterbacks are sure enough to take.
No.
I'd be so worried about taking it. I mean, unless you have certain years where it's like Andrew Luck or somebody that you're relatively certain they're going to be at least serviceable NFL quarterbacks. Man,
well, it's funny you brought that up about the quarterbacks. I heard Cowherd talking. I think it was last week, and he was talking about the difference in franchises. If you are drafting a quarterback, now these guys, there's a lot of uncertainties. Like you said, there's not a lot. There's not Peyton Manning.
Yes,
he said, but if you're drafting these guys to save your franchise,
it
probably isn't going to work.
It's not going to work. In the words of George Kettlewell.
Yes, and those are great words. But if you get a guy like and I don't know how good Jordan Love will ever be, but like in that situation, a guy that could come in. Or you're playing on a team that's middle of the pack, but a team, some of these, I don't know. I mean, we see it with Justin Fields, although he wasn't a number 1 pick overall, but I mean, but he's a hell of an athlete. But how good of a quarterback is?
And in Justin Fields' defense, and I'm an anti-Justin Fields. I think he's not a quarterback. I think he's a tremendous athlete. But to me, he'll never throw well enough for the Bears to be able to win with him. I just don't think it's possible. The same criticism I have of Lamar Jackson probably. And being a Ravens fan, that sucks. But Anthony Richardson wasn't even good in college.
I never even heard his guy's name before.
Terrible. in college. And he reminds me of a less successful, even to the level of Jamarcus Russell. But Justin Fields was at least good in college. He was good. He did a really good job. C.J. Stroud was good in college. Bryce Young was good in college. Anthony Richardson was awful in college. He was not a quarterback. He was a good athlete. I had Florida a few times last year, betting-wise. He was ridiculous. And I know you can say, oh, you put him with the great coaches in the NFL, since there's so many of those, and the great coordinators who are geniuses, and all the great offensive linemen and the great skill players. He'll be great. It can't miss. Well, it's going to miss. I'm going to tell you right now, the team that takes this guy, if they take him in the first round, you might as well count it that they will not be a playoff team for 10 years or more. They'll ruin their franchise immediately if you take a guy like this. This guy should be picked in the 4th or 5th round, not the first. Right. Just because he can throw from his knees 90 yards.
I was going to say, well, you know what? I think Cal Bowler was able to do that too.
Right.
What did he
and Russell too. And Jamarcus
Russell.
And
you know who else he reminds me of? The kid from Ohio State, Cardale Jones.
Yeah.
Remember he had that one decent. He took
one
over.
Good year. A team that is loaded with NFL players.
Yes. And he's out of the league. Yeah. And it was probably just because of the tangibles, right? This guy is big, strong, fast, and that's it.
His accuracy's dreadful. I just don't understand. These GMs and coaches, football, unlike any other sport, and I say this all the time, I've met so many football coaches in my life in various levels. They're the most arrogant, and then not like personally arrogant, but they all think they could like be Bill Belichick or something, or
they're the guy to fix this.
They all know more than anyone, and if like a guy like me who's not an X and O football guy, I've never coached it or played it at a high level or anything, I don't want to be that, but like. I can watch games on TV, and I can tell you who's good and who isn't. And I think I can do a better job, and you can do a better job evaluating players than some of these coaches. I think their arrogance gets in the way, and I'll never get over that. I've heard guys at the college level trying to tell me, well, the last All-American just left, wait till you see the next guy, what I do with it. Shut up. Yep. That'd be like Brady or Belichick coming out and just saying, oh, now that Tom Brady's gone, we'll really show you how good of a coach I can be. It doesn't make any sense, and these coaches are so arrogant, and these general managers are so stupid. There's a reason why only a handful of teams win. Yeah. And how about, think about this. Two of the best quarterbacks in the last 10 years or more, and Brady, you can go back even further, but the guys who win in the most Super Bowls or in the most Super Bowls, Mahomes and Brady, they weren't high picks. So right there, that should tell you right there. Mahomes, everybody fucking passed on him. Those morons.
He went in the middle of the first round.
Yeah, but there was like 6 guys that went ahead of him. Okay, chew on that. So every GM who passed on Patrick Mahomes, they should never work again. They should have to go coach Bethany Bison or something. That's about all the more they deserve. But you're going to see somebody make a terrible blunder. This Will Levis guy, I don't know if he's any good. He puts mayonnaise in his coffee, which disturbs me quite a bit. I don't know. I would not want to be, if I'm one of these teams up high and I'm not really, really certain that I love a guy or I know he's going to be good, I'm trading the fuck back and getting some picks and saying, let you make the mistake. I'll try to get a guy later, add a guy down, in a later round.
Especially if you have a quarterback that at least is serviceable.
Right.
That can what they always say, game manager. But that's too big of a risk. I mean, they said, and it sets your franchise back.
There's so many bad quarterbacks on this thing right here. I think this draft class for quarterbacks is an embarrassment. Richardson's terrible. Aiden O'Connell, C.J. Stroud, I think, is actually pretty good. I think Bryce Young is okay, but he's small. Clayton Tune, never going to work. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I've heard people talk about how great he was. Oh, if he played at Alabama, everybody would know his name. No, he was just a guy that ran around, made some plays as an athlete.
He's an athlete.
He's not a good thrower. He never did anything offensively for UCLA. I'm not a fan. I thought Hendon Hooker's pretty good. If I was going to take a gamble on any of these guys, it would be him. I thought he had a chance to actually.
He hurt his knee, right?
Yeah, but I thought he threw from the pocket better than a lot of these guys. He's athletic, but I thought he was more of a pocket guy, so I think that would be a probably benefit to an NFL team. Max Duggan ain't going to happen in the NFL. Malik Cunningham, are you kidding me? If you don't think Lamar Jackson can throw, just take a look at Malik Cunningham. Oh, boy. And then all of a sudden, Stetson Bennett looks good. Stetson Bennett could not throw from the tight hash marks of the NFL. He'd probably have 45 interceptions He had a great line, great tight ends. It's a
He had all the
perfect
pieces
offense
yeah.
for him. I like the guy, but I don't think he can play in the NFL.
What's he going to be, 28?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's a Chris Winkie. That's about how old he was.
Brandon Weeden.
Yeah. So, all right, Chris. Enough boring quarterback talk. What? Just tell me anything that intrigues you. Any teams you're looking at and making a move. Is there any picks that you feel comfortable about? Is there any bets you feel good about? Because I have a hard time giving anything out on the show. But one that stuck out to me before I get your opinion. Bijan Robinson.
Damn it. I was going to say
15.5. Yeah. What do you think of his draft position? Why would anybody pick a running back?
Well, they were talking about and I think the Eagles. They were talking about the Eagles taking him. Well, they got rid of
Sanders.
But
they got
I don't know. They
running
said
back
this guy
by
can.
committee.
I don't know. They said this guy can do it all in the slot.
That would be an un-Eagle-like pick if you ask me. But
no, he looks fantastic. I don't know enough about.
No, I think he's good too. But
really,
top 15 pick, you think?
No, but it's definitely a wide receiver heavy draft. Isn't it?
Yeah, it looks pretty
are
solid for the receiver position. But Bijan Robinson 15.5. I would bet that over. I don't think anybody would take him up because even if the Eagles won him, I think they could trade down and probably get him a little bit later. I don't know. Taking a running back is just these guys just don't last.
I know. You know the Steeler fans. I heard them talking about I think that's the lineman from Georgia, Jalen Carter.
Yeah, I've heard him talking about Carter, and then I heard him talking about that Wilson guy, and then there was one other guy.
They were talking about Joey Porter Jr.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's just...
Well, again, Steeler fans.
Well, hopefully he's not an idiot like his father.
Well, I'm sure he will be.
Yeah, Apple doesn't fall
Maybe
far.
Joey will come back as the coach, which would be really nice to see.
Yeah, he class act.
What do you think... I'm looking at some of these, like Will Anderson, over under 3.5 for his draft position. His stock, went down a little bit, I think. But
well, some of the drafts have him going second, right?
Yeah, and Jalen. Well, that's what I'm saying.
You're right.
People said Houston would take our edge rusher, but will it be him, or will it be the guy, that Wilson guy? That's the question. So if you're able to follow these, my advice to you is be looking for these money moves. Start write these prices down. Like the end of this week, and then start looking at what they're going to be like on Monday and Tuesday, and then you're going to start to see when things start to move. And normally when they move towards a guy really quickly, that's usually a pretty good indicator that it's going to be yay or nay, over, under, whatever whatever have you, as far as the guy's position goes, or who a team particularly is going to select. You got some teams here like the Bengals are. They're favored to pick a tight end as their first pick. The Lions are minus 250 to take a defensive back. That's interesting, but I think that's a good pick for the Lions because they kind of could use some help on defense.
And just like the Packers, the plus 190 to take a tight end with her.
Now, if anybody could answer a question, why in the hell the Packers would now choose an offensive player in the fucking first round of the draft when they just neglected to do it when they had Aaron Rodgers all those years. It would blow my mind, but I think Green Bay may be one of the worst run franchises. They'd be better off now. The people up there own the team. They'd be better off the people made the decisions for the team because I don't understand it. I think Green Bay is going to be one of the worst teams in the league, and I'll be tipping them probably as an underplay.
Is the Rodgers thing just still a work in progress?
Yeah, but it's going to come down to the draft. I think they're just trying to hold out long enough so they can try to trade a pick for next year instead of this year. Yeah. And the Packers are morons. They need to try to make this happen before the draft, but Mike Florio was talking about that, so he thought maybe it would happen the day of or the day before.
Okay,
to the very last hour. But I've heard. If the Packers wait and don't trade him until after the draft, they're even dumber than I just said they were, because then they're not even getting anything for this year. They're trading for something for next year. So
no, if they're going to, and I don't know what kind of quarterback Jordan Love is, but not going to be good. So dark days ahead for
they're gonna be horrible
for Packer fans.
They're one of the worst teams in the league last year, if you ask me. Anyway, and Rodgers held them above water. Bad offense, defense was very overrated. Didn't perform well. Yeah. So good luck. Hopefully, Brad's team, who's shopping Trey Lance right now, he may get traded by draft night. But again, it's amazing how it's complete reversal. He was their guy last year. And he gets hurt. Purdy comes in. Now they're ready to get rid of this guy already because they knew he wasn't good. They just tried to force themselves and, again, try to make themselves not look as dumb as they really were. by taking him. That may be one of the worst blunders in draft history, them taking him. They were like another player away from probably winning the Super Bowl.
Moved up to get him,
Yeah.
right? They gave up a lot.
Bizarre. Like, what are you thinking? You have a roster that's good enough to win, and they made it to the damn Super Bowl that year and end up losing.
Well,
but
it's like
maybe that extra player, that guy who could play immediately, maybe that's the difference.
that John Lynch comes across as a
little arrogant.
like he wonders who he is, and he orchestrated that, didn't he, with Trey Lance? Yeah. So I mean,
I'm not. Sorry, Brad. I worry a little bit about your GM and coach. I mean, still got a really good roster, and you could easily win. But I don't know. We'll be curious to see what Brad and his 49ers do. What about Tom's Cowboys? Somebody said they were interested in Bijan Robinson. Now they got Tony Pollard. Why the hell do they need another? What is it with this fascination that Dallas always has to get these fancy toys?
They can't just. Always have to have
they couldn't ever just get a guy that was like a really solid all around player. Mm-hmm. They always got to go for a fucking home run. And as long as they have Prescott, they're not going to ever win.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
There are so many bad teams here. Honestly, I'll be anxious to see what Seattle does. I feel like they had a pretty decent season last year, and they're kind of building the team back to being strong the right way. I think Jacksonville's intriguing. If they can improve on defense a little bit, I think they got some good players on offense. Minnesota's a damn disaster. The Bills need a couple more playmakers, if you ask me, and they're favored to take a wide receiver. So I may be looking at that bet. I think got plus 190 for the Bills to take a receiver. But an offensive lineman could be key to them, too. They did have some protection problems last year. What do you think about the Jets, Chris? What are your thoughts on them? Defense, they already loaded on defense, but I don't think they're quite as good as everybody says. Do you?
No, I don't.
People said their defense was really like elite. I didn't find it elite at all.
And even if they do go through with that, I just don't think. I mean, Rodgers is on the downside of his career.
He doesn't have a lot of playmakers. I don't.
No, and he's like there's. I don't know. He's an enigma. I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, no, he's not gonna. He won't mesh with everybody. You never know how it's gonna turn out.
And seems like he's got like a little I don't know. His relationship with the media is not the best.
Well, yeah.
So he's going to go to the biggest market. So I don't know.
He could be. Yeah.
I mean, I never had anything against the Jets. I've never disliked them. But if they don't get him, I mean, if they still have Zach Wilson and.
No, they let that Mike White guy go. So.
Okay, so yeah.
What do you think about New England? Now, New England being favored to pick a wide receiver in the first round is just baffling to me. Why would they ever do that? I don't understand that. Belichick is not the kind of guy that does that.
Well, for as good of a coach as he's been throughout his career, his personnel decisions have not been
in recent
good.
years.
And they seem like they always trade down.
I think he's struggled. I thought for a while when he was building those Super Bowl teams, but they had the stability at quarterback, so they could get away with that.
Yes.
They didn't. And Brady made a lot of those guys a lot better. I mean, they traded down and got stockpiled a lot of good picks, and they really, they got Vince Wilfork and some of the guys. They got key guys on defense that really put them over the top. But yeah, that's not been the case in recent years. Cooley's Bucks, I don't even know where to begin with them. They may be the worst team in the league. The Redskins are going to be horrible.
You think?
Yeah. I have no faith in them. Who the hell's their coach? Oh, Ron Rivera, is he still their coach?
Yeah. They still got Riverboat Ron.
They'll never win with him. He's a loser. That guy's a conservative loser. He just doesn't coach to win. I know. Sam Howell now will go in there, run around, get his head knocked off.
That's right.
I mean, he might be all right, but I don't dislike him. But they just have too many holes, and they're maybe when they get the new ownership.
Well, I heard them talking the other day.
Got to get rid of Ron Rivera
about how are the Giants going to be, because they were talking about Daniel Jones and he signed, right? He got a
I mean, I don't blame the Giants for doing that. He was serviceable enough last year, and again, here's the arrogance comes in. Brian Daboll is going to say, "Oh, I'm so smart, I'll make this guy good." Well, you got a lot of lucky breaks last year, and with a bad offensive roster. Jones did well with a bad. Their skill players were terrible. I mean, really, really bad.
I don't mind the guy, but I'm just going to mention the contract that he got. And they were just talking about the years that he's got. I don't know, what did he get, 5 or 6 years? And they were like the one of the last years of his contract. I mean, I think he's like not guaranteed, but it's like for $56 million.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
but by the time he gets to that, there'll be a guy making $100 million a year probably.
Yeah, I mean, hell,
it's
Hurst
silly.
just got $255 million.
It's just silly.
So that Watson contract's already forgotten about.
Yeah, I know. And to me, there really shouldn't be any quarterbacks paid. If you don't win anything, you shouldn't get anything. You should just get market value for what the losers get. And right now, if you're not Mahomes, and that's about it, because Brady's gone. What are these teams thinking? But anyway, I'll be happy. I'm just hopeful that the Ravens part ways with Lamar Jackson, and now they got the great signing of Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
He'll quit the team by about week 4, so that'll be good to get rid of him. So Ravens could be lean for a while, but Ravens could be a team that could surprise you and pick a quarterback here, move up in a strategic move to try to get a guy they can build around for the future.
Why do teams still think that he's like a great receiver? Odell.
I don't know.
He hasn't had it
Ravens did that to try to get Jackson back.
But they haven't had it. He hasn't had a standout season since I think 2016.
He's always hurt.
Hurt, and he runs his mouth.
Yeah.
Like
I don't understand though for him watching Lamar Jackson play and knowing that he struggled to get guys the ball, and you're mad about Baker Mayfield and you're mad about Stafford didn't throw to him enough at first, and like this guy is just
diva position.
A bad job by the Ravens. They don't usually make mistakes like that, but they will here. So we'll keep you apprised of some of the picks. I really don't know what else we can really give you on the show today, but I'm going to try to look for some value picks for next week. I thought Will Levis under 6.5. There's a lot of steam on that right now. That's starting to trend upwards. So I'll put out some early tweets in the week on the BLS Twitter page and the Pine Room Podcast Twitter page, so you can keep an eye out for where some of the steam moves. But it is, I could tell you something here today, and by Friday or Saturday when you watch this show, it could be bad information. So we're gonna wait. We're gonna err on the side of caution here and wait to see where the money goes here in the late stages. But the draft definitely be a cool thing. It'd actually be pretty neat to do a draft show in here while we were watching.
I think it'd be great. Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that. Who knows? I don't know. But if there's any way we could do that on Facebook Live or something like that. But as if we're not busy enough, with our Pine Room responsibilities and our own life responsibilities. Anyway, that's going to do it for our first segment here. We're going to come back on BLS. We're going to talk quickly about the XFL, the USFL, and the Zurich Classic. We'll be back on BLS right after this.
Reminder, Bettor's Last Stand is for informational and entertainment purposes only. All wagering activity should only be conducted by those 21 years of age or older and within the confines of federal, state, and local law. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, contact 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. You're watching Bettor's Last Stand.
All right, welcome back in BLS. Matt and Chris here. Coach on his way to the Mountaineer and Pitt Panther baseball game at PNC Park. Chris, I'm not trying to sound like a dick, but there's not many places that I'd rather be less than something like that.
No, and driving up into that traffic and
Coach hates driving to the mall.
Oh, hey, in the name of baseball, he'll make some exceptions.
Him and Jared are dedicated. They're up there seeing the Mountaineers and the Panthers. I'm sure it'd be cool if it got there, but college baseball doesn't do much for me. It's very, very, very tough to watch, at least most of the games. There's some really good teams that in the World Series I'll watch, but I can't watch regular season college baseball. No. I've been scarred for life. It is so bad. There's so many bad teams. The games take forever.
They don't have any of those rules instituted like they do in the pros, right?
Oh God!
So
they need to just put a mercy rule in. I'd be fine with that because there's so many bad teams.
Well, they one good thing is they do have beautiful weather for baseball.
Yeah, it'll be chilly tonight, but it'll be nice. Yeah, so go Mountaineers or go Panthers, whichever your preference. All right, so we're back here. We're going to talk a little bit of XFL, USFL, and some golf. A couple of things I wanted to mention. Bad beats from last night. The under 5.5 in the Winnipeg Vegas game. That was on Tuesday. It was 3-1 with 80 seconds left, and 2 late goals by the Jets, and your under ticket is lost. You're done. Those kind of things suck.
Didn't the guys? One guy scored 2 goals in a row, wasn't it?
One was a power play goal.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That was bizarre.
Yep.
Yeah, but so tough one there. You just never know where you're going to get it. In the NBA, you have these horrific beats on the quarters and the halves every night. So, best of luck to you. God be with you. That's all I can say. So this was interesting. I thought sports leagues and media outlets reuniting to set limits for sports betting ads. This is interesting. The government's getting involved, which is not good. Whenever they get involved in something, they usually ruin it. So apparently these leagues are saying there's too much emphasis on sports betting, too many commercials. Their players are being treated poorly. Wah, wah, wah. And then we go from that right to this fan who's suing the Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards over assault in a dispute after a betting incident post-game. It's actually not a betting incident, but it kind of is. It was on March 21st. The Wizards are playing in Orlando. And the fan alleges that Beal hit him in the head coming off the court. His name's Kyle Briffa from Orange County, Florida. He said Beal was exiting the court and overheard him and his friend talking about the loss and how it cost them a bet. And apparently Beal reacted badly and hit him in the head unprovoked. Now, police say that Briffa's friend apparently said, "You made me lose $1,300, you fuck," which provoked Beal. But again, if you're an athlete, you can't put your hands on somebody like that. I'm sorry. I know it's frustrating, and I know fans are assholes. Trust me, I couldn't sympathize more.
Yes.
But don't blame betting for all these problems. Fans who bet, they need to be responsible. They need to be logical. It's not, these guys aren't trying to lose you money. At least we haven't figured that out yet. I'd be more concerned about the referees. But speaking of which, the Scott Foster jinx ended last night. He finally reffed the game of Chris Paul's in the playoffs, and they won.
They beat the Clips.
So congrats to Chris Paul for getting that jinx.
Scott
I think he was 2 for his last 17 with Scott Foster. So I'd be more worried about referees. So if you want to go after a referee and hit him in the head or something, I'm fine with it. No, I'm really not. We don't promote violence.
But we know. But
referees cheat more than players do.
For sure.
But players need to have thicker skin. These guys are making – Bradley Beal's making like $48 million a year. I think a guy cussing him out is not that too big of a deal.
And I've seen that, and that's happened with Russell Westbrook. And do these guys just have the power there? They get so upset and they say, "Well, that guy yelled at me.
Right.
Let's have him removed from the game." Fuck that.
Yeah,
I mean, unless you're like really.
No, I think I'm under the assumption that if I pay for the seat, I can do pretty much whatever I want. Obviously, we don't want people's families being targeted and then be just belligerent behavior is not cool. But if you're heckling a guy and calling him Westbrick, like that's sorry, like that's your fault. Make your shots and then you won't get yelled at. But I see both sides of this. The fans act like morons a lot of the times, but the players act like morons too, and they're the ones that people see on TV and You're being held to a standard when you're making that kind of money. There's responsibility that goes with it. I don't care if you say you don't want to be a role model or not. We're not asking to be a role model. Anybody who watches the NBA would be an idiot to have their kids emulate most of the guys in the NBA, or the NFL, or most of the other sports.
Remember, even years ago, Charles Barkley said,
"Right,
I'm not a role model,"
and he's honest about it. So honestly, his
model.
honesty is actually something that you would look for in a role model. But so in his time, guys were a heck of a lot easier to look up to, at least as far as maybe not their personal behavior, their personal life, but at least their willingness to play as a team. They bust their ass. They play hard and play the right way. Play every game. Yeah. So those were very commendable. But enough about the NBA. If you haven't seen this too, YouTube TV, $349 for Sunday ticket. It was $389 for the Red Zone if you get the Red Zone with it. If you order before June 6th. It's $449 and $489 accordingly if you wait. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And the worst part about this is the average lag time, which is a serious problem on YouTube, 54 seconds. So if you're trying to play in-play betting, you're basically having to wait till a commercial, and you really only are going to have in a 2.5 minute, 3 minute commercial. You're waiting to almost halfway through it to be able to get to where you feel comfortable. Okay, I'm caught up on what's happened. I know what's happened. Now I can get my bet in. You don't have a whole lot of time. Terrible. Just terrible. I hate to see this. And I'm as big a pro streaming person, but streaming is not for sports. It's just not. And again, people that have the TV service, Chris, you do streaming, all streaming. If you were heavy betting in play, I'm sure you would get pissed off.
Well, and this really doesn't have anything to do with the betting, but watching football season or hockey, whenever it was, you guys are watching on regular cable. I'm watching the same game.
Right.
We're texting out the score. Somebody does something good.
Yeah, and
I'm fucking 30 seconds. So I already know what happened before,
right.
And it's like,
and that's
fuck.
frustrating. Those times where and I have DirecTV, and there's still a little lag with DirecTV versus some of your cable systems are a little bit quicker. So you're having maybe 4 to 6 seconds quicker on a Comcast most of the time. Not a stream, but on the regular Comcast or Cox or Spectrum or one of them. But so sometimes if I'm interacting with somebody about a game, I won't look at my phone until breaks. Because
I've learned that
because it's I'm not gonna I don't want to, and not that it upsets me that much because I'm an information person. Sometimes if I'm betting a game or I'm interested in a game in play, I'll pull up the live stats of it that you're usually ahead of the game, which is helpful. So I recommend that to anybody out there. But if you're an in-play bettor, it's not going to be fun. We're hopefully the business package. DirecTV is still going to have, so we'll be able to have Sunday Ticket on over at the sports book. I'm hopeful for that, but these delays are huge. I mean, you got YouTube TV 54 seconds during the Super Bowl. DirecTV was 24 seconds during the Super Bowl. That's a 30-second difference, and I'm not saying 24 is good, but it's better than 54. So we got those obstacles to hurdle over as well when you're trying to get into this betting landscape. They're making it tough. See, I find it ironic. We talked about the fans suing and then the sports leagues wanting to stop all this advertising. They want their product to be, the most popular thing. They're signing all these TV deals. They're basically raping their fans by charging them this. But then they're worried about guys sports betting. Well, the reason your sport is popular and it has grown in popularity is because of sports betting. You can say that's not true, but it's really
how many people that we know that wouldn't watch this without sports? We say it all the time.
How many games do you think Coach would watch if he couldn't bet?
None of them. You'd rather watch TV shows
Exactly.
like a horror. You have the Panthers and the Falcons. Oh, yeah,
right. Who's going to watch that?
Nobody.
Especially the Thursday night games we get stuck with sometimes. Poor Al Michaels last year. My God, the first 8 of those games were just an embarrassment. Anyway, more streaming news ahead. We'll talk about that later. All right, Chris, XFL was not a pretty week for you. Wasn't much better for me, but actually
0-4, man.
Actually, I was 3-1 in the XFL. I didn't even realize that. But getting down to playoff time now. I'm curious to see how these playoffs will shake out. It could be entertaining. I hope it is. Well, let's begin.
Well, we have a couple. Well, there's some playoff implications because this is the last week of the regular season.
This is the last week of the regular season, week 10 here in the XFL. Last week, dogs were 3-1 and the overs were 3-1. Definitely points picking up. Houston covered by a half against Vegas, and then you had San Antonio beating Orlando. That game went over. You had DC not covering. DC's
they did
not playing as well as they were earlier in the season. I'm a little concerned with them. I thought they were the best team. And then Seattle taking down your St. Louis Battlehawks.
Seattle was started 0-2. They're 6-1.
They're playing the best right now. And I thought Houston and DC were early in the season. So and St. Louis in the middle of the season I thought was pretty good. All right, so
Seattle made a statement. They won 30-12
in a hostile environment.
Yes, it's St. Louis.
So a game on Saturday, noon kick, ESPN Orlando Guardians at the St. Louis Battlehawks. Battlehawks minus 7.5, total 46.5. Battlehawks need the game for
they
playoff.
Win, they're in.
Yes,
they win and they're in.
So they need that game. I'll lay the points with St. Louis there. I think they get it done.
And
what do you say?
Yeah, I'm going to give the points because they're. Again, they're at home. They're playing a bad team, and they know what's on the line. So I'll take Battlehawks.
I considered it over, but I'm going to lay off. Orlando has been better on offense of recent weeks. You've heard me say that a couple times on here. So maybe an over, but I think St. Louis will be very serious and workmanlike there and take care of business easily. DC Defenders, a 3 o'clock game on Saturday, heads to San Antonio. They're 3-point favorite on the road. They've already clinched their spot. I don't expect DC to go all out for this game, and San Antonio is really not very good, and they struggle to score. I think San Antonio technically is still alive for the playoffs. Is that correct?
They have to win, and Arlington has to lose. Then it goes to the tiebreakers.
Right.
They need a lot to happen.
I'm not sure even having to win they can. I like the under in this game. I think DC takes, runs the ball, just gets out of there without getting anybody hurt. What do you say?
I had that mark too. Had the under 42
Perfect.
on that, and I think DC is going to win the game.
Yeah, I do too. I think probably. I'm not going to lay the 3.
Be like a 20-10 or
yeah. They should be able to cover that, but I just don't know what kind of effort you'll get from them. Probably just a workman-like performance. All right, Sunday doubleheader, 3:00 on ESPN. The Arlington Renegades host the Houston Roughnecks. Houston's already clinched the other side or the other division top seed, so they don't really need the game. Arlington does need the game. They're a 1-point home favorite, total 42.5. I'll take Arlington here. I think they've played good enough that I think they can win this game. What do you think?
Yes, Arlington on that, because if they so the winner they're trying to determine what second place for in what division is that?
Honestly, I don't.
South.
I'm a little. Okay,
It's the South. Okay, South. I'm sorry.
No, yeah.
So so Arlington. I'm trying to, because I think if Arlington wins, they're in.
They're 4-5 right now. If they win, they're in. They San Antonio needs them to lose, and then it's tiebreakers. So that'd be the only way they could catch them. They'd both be 4-6 if Arlington lost. So Arlington wins, they're in. So I think Arlington gets the job done. Chris concurs.
And Houston.
Houston's already clinched. So they can't really gain anything out of it. So I'll be going with Arlington there. Don't love anything on the total. All right, and then the nightcap, Vegas at Seattle. Seattle -8, total 47. Seattle could use the game definitely as they're in a battle with St. Louis for that playoff spot.
Yes.
So they're going to be all out, and I think Seattle's playing the best of anybody. So I'm going with Seattle and under.
And Vegas is eliminated.
Yes, they are done.
They are
suck.
done, so they don't have anything to. Yeah. So I'm going to take the game under.
Yep, me too.
47.
I took under 47 in Seattle in that.
Although I'm also going to take Vipers getting 8.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they're going to win.
Yeah, they're going out. They're playing for the coach.
Right.
They're going to play.
They
hard.
love their coach.
They're going to play hard for Joe Paul.
Yeah.
Or whoever the hell their coach is. All right, that takes us. I'm going to keep an eye on these XFL playoffs. They might be pretty good. So
I've enjoyed it so far.
Yeah,
and
it's
not
bad.
And I didn't. And the only reason that I watched any of that USFL, which I don't know if you're going to talk about,
we are. Yep.
It just because we had that board on that
right.
The Mauler game, and I think they lost by a touchdown.
And just a really futile offense. They could drive it down to the red zone, but nobody could score.
Did they kick a bunch of field goals?
Yeah, I think at one point, I think that's all they had.
Yeah.
They had. I think they lost 22-15. I think they had 5 field goals,
mm-hmm.
and then at one point it was 9-9. There was 6 field goals in the game.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, all right, so let's shift over to USFL. Week 2, still a little early for me to figure out who's good. Not that I can do that anyway, but we'll try. I think we've actually done pretty good as a group on the XFL this year. I think we. If I went back and added up all of our
I put us
plays,
back last week.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's all right. We had a good. We were in the positive column, I think, for a while. So, all right, USFL Week 2. Saturday's games. There's a double. Actually, it's not a double header. There's a 12:30 game. Houston at New Orleans. New Orleans -4. The total 39.5. New Orleans was a team that played Pittsburgh, and that was the game that I saw the most of because we were watching it at the Vets. We had a board on it. New Orleans, not bad. Their offense was a little bit bad in the red zone, same as Pittsburgh's. So I am going to recommend a play on the under in this game as they are 1-0 in the season. Houston, the Gamblers, are 0-1. Mm-hmm. Houston lost to Michigan last week, 29-13. Michigan seems like they could be pretty good, so I'm going with the under in the Breakers and Gamblers game. Chris, any opinion on that one?
I like the under as well. I don't want to keep saying the same thing you do, but I'm gonna take the Gamblers getting 4. So I'll take them and the under.
All right, let's go to the Saturday night game. The Memphis Showboats at the Birmingham Stallions. Birmingham won it last year. Birmingham -7.5, total 44.5. Where are you going in this contest?
I am going to take Birmingham, given 7.5.
Okay.
And they, strong Saturday night crowd. Everybody pumped up. They might have like 1,000 people there.
Yeah, hopefully it does good. But
I know.
Birmingham does pretty good attendance wise. Mm-hmm. They're kind of like.
Is that where they played all the games last year?
Yeah, they're the St. Louis of the USFL, I'd say, as far as crowd goes. I thought didn't love it. If I get to 7 in the hook, I may lean to Memphis, but I like maybe over here. I thought these two teams offensively were a little bit better than some of the other ones. Memphis scored 23 last week. Birmingham scored 27. I thought maybe the offenses could be decent here. So Go with the over of 44.5 there. All right, Sunday, New Jersey Generals at the Pittsburgh Maulers. I believe this game is at Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton. I really don't know why. I need to explore more about why.
Do the Maulers play any games at Heinz? Or are they playing them all? Somebody was saying that last week. They were playing all of them.
Well, I don't know if they're playing all of them there, but they're starting out in Canton. So
I guess we can't do a board for that when it's 1 o'clock.
Yeah, it won't be. Maybe the Michigan Panthers and Philly Stars. All right, so Generals and Maulers. I thought under looked all right here, but I don't really have a strong opinion. What do you say?
I'm gonna take the Generals.
Okay. New Jersey Generals on the road laying 2.
Maulers couldn't punch it in. They struggled.
They did
on third down, so they settled for 5 field goals.
Yeah, 5 field goals, yeah.
I'm gonna take the Generals.
And I'm going under 36.5. All right, Michigan Panthers at the Philadelphia Stars, 7 o'clock kick on Sunday evening. The Philadelphia Stars -3, the total 41.5. I'm going with the Michigan Panthers here plus the points. I thought they looked good last week. Scored 29 in a win over Houston. Philadelphia did beat Memphis, but I thought that was a pretty close game. So I'm going Michigan. What do you say, Chris?
I'm going Michigan and under.
All right.
Michigan and Panthers and under.
All right, so hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit better gauge as these USFL games go on and we start to see who may be decent. But
just like we did with the USFL,
yeah,
it was a work in progress.
Keep building. These games, actually last week's games, point-wise, other than that Pittsburgh game, with there being 3-1 to the over, that was the only game that stayed under, was more points than I had expected and more points than there was in the first few weeks last year. And also bookmakers, a little bit more data to go on this year with the coaching tendencies and so forth. So you're able to kind of build a power rating that's a little bit more accurate than the last.
And just going back real quick to the XFL, I think it was looking to the scores. Did every one of those games go over? They had to be.
It was 3-1, and the other one missed barely.
Was it the Seattle 30-12?
No, it was no. Wait,
because it was 28-26 the DC game. San Antonio was 25.
Yeah, no, it was it was because that was 42. It is 46 and a half.
Okay,
it's the only one. But again, he scored 40 points. So I mean, it's not super low.
Like you pointed out in previous shows, how those middles started a lot lower, and they're
all into the
growing,
40s almost. Yeah.
So you expect probably the same thing with the USFL.
I would say so. I thought week 1 was a little better offense than I thought, minus that Pittsburgh game. But yeah, I would say it's not as easy just to bet the blind unders as it was last year. So. All right, let's switch over to golf. The Zurich Classic team event down in New Orleans.
This is interesting.
Teams tune up for the PGA coming up here in a couple of weeks. Not a great field, but it's a team event, so you got double scoring, and then they play everybody's best scores here. So you're gonna see guys shooting in the 20s under par. It's not quite like a golf scramble, but it's pretty
Matt,
close.
If I'm correct. There's 82-man teams, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And the 80 guys, what are the top? They get to pick their partner.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes.
So there'll be a total of 160 golfers. Then after Friday, it'll be knocked down to 33.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So
they alternate.
Yes.
Or they're different formats each day.
Yes. Different format, scoring format each day. That's why the under pars can rack up. This course doesn't play too hard. TPC, Louisiana. Defending champions Xander Schauffele, Patrick Cantlay, both of those guys in very good form. They are favored here again at 3-1. That's almost unthinkable for golf. 3-1 usually at least gets 6 or 7 on John Rahm and Scheffler and them guys. But yeah, it's hard to go against Schauffele and Cantlay. I can't really recommend that, but I'm going to be taking a shot with a couple of teams to maybe knock them off. You never know. Cantlay still struggling off of his bad performance on Sunday last week. He had some very fucking weird shots that he hit last week. Ones that went up against the railroad ties up against the water, and a couple other ones he hit in the trees, and he was in pine cones and all kinds of things. He could have probably won that tournament. Probably would have made Coach a lot happier. He had Cantlay, gave it out on the show last week, but yeah, so Cantlay and Schauffele are going to be hard to stop, I think. Rightful favorites. Another team that I was looking at, team has played very well here in the past, Sam Burns and Billy Horschel. They were second last year and fourth the year before that. So 14-1, I think, is a very fair price for them. They could easily win this. Sam Burns playing outstanding golf right now. Billy Horschel,
he struggled a little bit.
Billy Horschel's been up and down, but he played bad last week. He's a guy I like to play back off of a bad round or a bad week, because he usually kind of fixes it enough to where he can go shoot a low score. So I would recommend maybe taking a shot with them. I also thought Sunjay M and Keith Mitchell at 12-1 was pretty fair. Be taking a shot with them, and then a couple of longer shot teams. Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin, the Canadian guys,
28-1.
28-1. I'll be going with them, and then Thorbjorn Olsen and Nikolai Højgaard, 30-1. Those guys from Denmark will see what they can do. Those are the teams that I like. Chris, anybody stick out to you?
I was looking at Tom Kim and Siwoo Kim.
Okay.
14-1.
The Kim brothers.
They're
not brothers.
No, but they're really good friends. They're both talented. I think,
Yes,
and they're both the only two winners this season on the same team, I believe, if I read that right. So
yeah.
And them and Danny McCarthy and Joel Damon.
Okay.
I don't know one. One's a straight hitter, one's a good putter.
I know that they've had some success here in the past. Joel Damon's played. He's been in the final group here a couple of times. So yeah, good picks
now,
there. So
did I? And I don't see it on this sheet, but I saw it online, and maybe it was a joke. But is John Daly in this with David Duvall, or was that? Did I just?
Maybe they are. If they are, I mean, we don't even put them on.
Okay, I just thought it was funny because
boy, that'd be a group to follow.
Yeah, I mean, I know I saw that online before I came down here, but I didn't see it on a sheet. But
all right, so Chris giving you the Kims at 14-1 and McCarthy and Damon at 30-1. Yeah, I think those are strong.
And
picks.
I think you might have been my other guy. Minwoo Lee.
Yeah, Minwoo out. He's not in.
No, I can't follow him this week. But no, I'm looking forward to this just because the way they have it, the setup and the format with the foursomes play and then the 4-ball play.
Yeah.
So it'll be neat. But expect low scores.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Very, very into the 20s under par, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yes, you wanna be looking for that. So if there's any props out there you like for as far as winning score, lower than 23 under par or something might be worth a look. I'd imagine by the time Sunday rolls around, you're gonna be seeing some teams in the 20s and on the back nine, seeing where they can take it just a little bit lower to get the win at the Zurich Classic. So. A couple of things before Sam's set to join us here in about 5 minutes. Just wanted to re-emphasize about these NFL drafts. Just keep an eye out for these prices. I'll try to help you out with that on our social media next week. Give people updates on what's going on and some picks that maybe we like. I'm sure Coach will dive deep into the draft. He'll be asleep probably by the first pick. But,
the first pick usually into about 8:15.
Yeah,
so
it's big spectacle. Yep. So NFL draft, IndyCar. We'll talk a little bit more with Sam about that. About last week, they're off this week. F1s are also off. Azerbaijani Grand Prix is next Sunday. AFL roundup real quick. Geelong finally won again, or actually not finally won again, but they make it 2 in a row. They're 2-3 now. St. Kilda took their first loss of the season. I actually had a good week in AFL. Last week had some good picks. They had the Adelaide Footy Festival where all the teams played in Adelaide. That created some serious home field advantages for a few of the teams, and also some crazy bad weather and some torn up fields, which was pretty fun. I enjoyed the games last week more than even most weeks. They were very high and contested games. Really, really good action, weather involved, all kind of fun stuff. So I'll be looking forward to trying to give you some winners there. Right now, St. Kilda, as I said, they're 4-1, top of the table. They're 16-1 to win the grand final. I wouldn't recommend that. They did cover last week against Collingwood in the loss. That was a game that I had tipped. They were like a 14.5-point dog, so I thought that was just too many points. Geelong's now 7-1 to win the grand final. I still think they're dangerous. They do have some guys hurt though, which could be a problem. Melbourne are the favorites at 4-1. They lost to the Bombers last week, and Essendon is playing really good. And I have 104 to 67. That's 677. Yeah, so they lost to the Bombers. Bombers are playing really good right now. I don't know if that's a product of their schedule or what, but in the Lions, Brisbane, a team I don't like at all. They're 5-1 to win it. I wouldn't take them. They can't win on the road. Very good at home, terrible on the road.
Brisbane Lions?
Yes. Very exciting team. They got, if West Virginia fans or anybody that watches this is a Mountaineer, one of their good goal scorers, Charlie Cameron, actually plays Country Roads as his goal scoring song. So you hear cool. Like 60,000 Brisbane people singing. Yeah.
Drunk
and he's a really good player, Charlie Cameron. So yeah, but Brisbane's cool. Watching a Brisbane home game is pretty fun. They're very good at home. Just don't have the same energy on the road. It's weird how some teams don't travel. They never win the free balls with their ruckman and stuff, so they struggle to have possession. But all right, and then for this week, it's round 6 already. Hard to believe.
That either Port Adelaide is awesome or West Coast Eagles suck.
Well, a little bit of both.
I mean,
Port Adelaide's not
40
awesome. West Coast is
they-
not a good team. They're 1-4. Port Adelaide is a team that's very good at home. They have not had to leave home for a couple of weeks. With the footy festival in Adelaide last week, they played at home. The Power will be the team. I'm going to back the Power in that game. I think they'll win the game by about 60 or 50 or 75. Also like the game over.
That's crazy.
But, the points rack up in a hurry. Last week I gave Geelong out. They were given like 37 or something, and they ended up covering. Sometimes you get a slow start in these games, and you think you're in trouble, but the points can come quick when the teams get momentum. That is a Friday game that Chris mentioned. Port Adelaide hosting West Coast.
11:45 if you're up late.
Yes, it's perfect time if you're up late.
Drinking, come home.
Yeah, it'll be a fun game to watch. Port Adelaide will put it on them pretty good, but West Coast, they're so bad on transition and their defense. And if you watch this sport, and I'd always like to get people's opinions who are new to it. It kind of reminds you of basketball, football, hockey, baseball. It has little things about intricacies of like all different sports like encompassed into one, so which makes it really cool. It's got like fast break type stuff from basketball and like hockey type rush where you're like in transition. You have baseball where you're having guys having to go up at the high point of balls. Same with football where you got wide receivers. And just being able to target guys with your feet, which is just remarkable. So a really cool sport to watch.
Played by real men.
Yes. They don't
Real
get hurt.
fucking men.
The reviews are like 5 seconds long. It's awesome when they review a goal. It's like immediate. Referees don't get involved a lot. It's great. Western at Fremantle also on Friday. That's an early game, 6:10 a.m. I like Western. They've been a scrappy team. They're getting 2.5 from Fremantle. I'm going to take Western and the under of 166.5. On Saturday, GWS in Brisbane. GWS hosts Brisbane. As I said, Brisbane not a great road team. I'll be taking GWS, Greater Western Sydney Giants, plus the 18.5 and the under 164.5 in that game. I just don't trust Brisbane on the road to be able to cover that spread. Sydney Swans at the Geelong Cats. It's a 5:25 a.m. Saturday morning game. Geelong starting to kick it in gear a little bit, but again, they lost 2 of their good offensive players last week, so I'm a little concerned about that. I'm going to lean to the under here and probably take the Cats, but I don't love that bet. Later on Saturday night, 11:10 Eastern Time, Adelaide Crows and the Hawthorn Hawks. Hawthorn is just terrible. Adelaide laying 22.5 on the road, total 174.5. I'm going to go with the under in that game.
Well, I wanted to bring that up because I saw it was a 22.5 favorite at Adelaide. But with the nicknames, you got Adelaide Crows and Hawthorn Hawks.
Yeah.
In a fight, who's usually going to win?
Hawk would win that. Yeah.
Okay.
Hawk will win the battle.
But they're not going to win this
game. They ain't
game.
going to win this battle.
Okay.
Although Adelaide hasn't left the home in Adelaide. They played 2 home games, and they played Port Adelaide, and then they played all the home games last week. So they've been at home for 4 straight weeks. It's their first road game they've played.
Then I'm taking the Hawks.
Hey, 22.5. You never know. Well, the Hawks are tough. They're a tough watch. All right. And then Sunday, St. Kilda, the league leaders at Carlton. Carlton 1.5, total 161.5. People still a little bit skeptical of St. Kilda, but I don't know. Carlton doesn't score a lot. Only Western Bulldogs have scored less than them, so I'm tipping the under here, 161.5. I like that game under. Going to go with that one, the Saints and the Blues. North Melbourne and Gold Coast, that's 2:40 a.m. Sunday morning. Gold Coast, a team I was high on in the beginning of the year. They've had a lot of problems, a lot of injuries. They're just 1-4, but I like them here. The Kangas are horrible. 17.5. Gold Coast lays at home. I think they get the job done.
Is Gold Coast owned by the Gold
Coast Mall? Yeah, that's probably where they got that name for the Gold Coast Mall.
Maybe we can go there and get some Gold Coast Sun gear.
Yeah, I got a Gold Coast Sun shirt, but yeah, I don't think it's going to help them win. They do get their ruckman back. I think his name's Witz. He'll be back. They're a big man in the center, so hopefully they can keep possession, on the bounces. And
that's going to be a tough watch here at 2:40 a.m.
Yeah, well, if you're up, who knows, doing a couple lines of Coke,
right.
Popping on the TV. All right, and then Monday morning football, 5:25 a.m. Richmond Tigers and the Melbourne Demons. The Demons 21.5, total 174.5. Like the over a little bit in this game. Little lean towards Melbourne. Richmond, another team I don't trust on the road. And then a game that was not on my sheet, but I wrote it down because I couldn't get a line on it till late. It's a Tuesday game. The Bombers, as I mentioned, are playing well, 4-1. They play Collingwood, and I'm going to go with the under 172.5 in that game. Essendon, a 14.5-point favorite there. Injuries ravaging both teams there. So under is the play. All right, so that does it for our AFL tips. Again, I'll put them on Twitter as the weekend starts, so you can get those in. Hopefully you enjoy them and win a few. All right, we're going to take a break here on BLS, and we're going to be back talking racing, NBA, and MLB with our man Sam. You're listening to Bettor's Last Stand with Matt and Chris. We'll be right back.
Reminder, Bettor's Last Stand is for informational and entertainment purposes only. All wagering activity should only be conducted by those 21 years of age or older and within the confines of federal, state, and local law. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, contact 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. You're watching Bettor's Last Stand.
All right, welcome back in. Bettor's Last Stand. Chris, Matt, and now we're joined by the man Sam up north. His Buccos rolling again. What is it, 12-1 now? 12-2?
12-1.
12-1 Pirates over the Rockies. Things are rolling right now. We're gonna start by talking MLB with you, Sam. Pirates right now, a 10-1 you can get them to make the playoffs. Do you feel comfortable with that bet?
I'm getting more comfortable. Yeah, man. There's so much. I mean, they've played almost 20 games. There's 100, 100 plus left. There's so much left. I do like what I see, though. I cannot lie.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. They're a little better than I expected. I don't know how long it'll continue. Pitching still worries me a little bit. The Rockies made
Bad.
Rich Hill look good. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Chris, what are your thoughts? You're pretty gung-ho about these Buccos.
Right. They're another surprise. I don't know if it's a surprise, but their bullpens really performed well.
It has.
Other than that, Will Crow and his fucking that game.
They
up
got
on
a
Sunday.
DFA Will Crow. He's horrible.
Will Crow is my new Kevin Newman.
And Newman's playing good for the Reds.
I know.
There's not many more boring players than Kevin Newman, though. But anyway, hey, did you see last night when Bettor took that shot off his ass? In that night?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
He still got the guy up.
He's probably unavailable today. They won't need him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So they got a break. But no, they've been fun. They've been fun to watch.
Koch, another homer today.
Yeah.
G1's exciting. He gets on base.
Hey, did G-Man Choi get hurt? Somebody say that?
I don't know what's going on with him.
I heard he got hurt, but I don't know.
He might have got hurt. I don't know. He hasn't played, so I don't know how he got hurt.
Korean barbecue. And got
well,
hurt.
you know what? Another thing, and I a lot of us feel the same way about this guy. But if he could ever hit like 260, 270 with some pop, they'll be a hell of a lot better. And that's Hayes. If Hayes, but he's just
that's a big ask, Chris.
I know it is because he's had over 1,000 bats in his career now, and he really hasn't shown any proficiencies in hitting for average or hitting for power for a guy playing the corner.
He's good in the
infield.
field, though. He's good in the field. That's the thing right now.
Well, keep it up. He needs to keep it up to pull his weight. So, all right, Sam. So, other thoughts outside of the Pirates? Who's a team from last week since we last talked to you? Who looked good this week to you in MLB? Any teams that are starting to look sneaky good? Maybe teams you could take a little shot on bet wise.
I mean, I'm still liking our D-backs.
Yeah.
I have a player, though, and Matt, I texted you this a couple weeks ago. Adley Rutschman for that MVP.
Yes, it's not insane.
It's not insane. When I texted you it was a little insane because it was his first full season. He's not allowed to go off of, but yeah. And like I said, when Posey won it in 2012 or whatever, his stats were not that numerically impressive.
Yeah.
So I definitely think it's possible.
So here's what can happen there, and I think it was what was it when you saw it, 50-1 or something, 30?
Yeah, it was pretty high.
Around 50-1. But here's what needs to happen if you like that bet. Judge goes on the DL for an extended period, and Shohei gets traded to the National League to the Mets or something.
No, I'm asking a lot.
Hey, but that both of those could happen. I mean, Judge prior to last year was hurt every year of his career, extended time. So, and Stanton, he started the injury train for the Yankees, so he strained something the other day, so he's hurt. And now Judge will probably
he's always hurt.
But Rutschman, that kid, if you haven't seen him yet, folks, and I'm not just saying it because I like the Worlds, he's really, really good. All around, he's good defensively. He can hit all fields. He's just a great player. He's going to be outstanding He'll be playing probably for the Dodgers or the Mets in a few years, but
no doubt.
hopefully not. But Orioles hopefully can capitalize what they got him. But good find by you, Sam, because he is really, really good. Let me.
I actually have a
he's
live
off to a
number
good start.
right now.
What do you got?
I have a number for tonight. I just looked at it right now, and I'll forget it if I don't say it.
Okay, go.
Corey Kluber, under 4.5 innings pitched, is plus 125.
Yeah, that's probably a great bet.
Corey Kluber this year is 0-3. He's 37 years old with a 6.92 ERA.
Yeah, and the Red Sox haven't done much to help any of their pitchers. Their pitching is just really bad, and those games in Fenway Park have tended to be over type games. So yeah, I think that's a high scoring game where he gets knocked out fast. Good call there. Tell me if I'm overreacting here, but I don't really think the Dodgers are that good. What do you say?
I don't either. I think they're old.
Yeah.
To be honest.
And their lineup.
It's like Turner's gone. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like they lost a lot.
All those stable
Kershaw,
guys.
Martinez.
And like Bellinger, I mean, he was such a key to their team. I know he didn't play that well last year and the year before that, but I mean, we played a good center field even when when it wasn't hitting. But yeah, I feel like they've lost a lot of pieces. I don't think they've replaced them very well, and I don't think their pitching staff. I'm hoping Michael Grove, he ought to be able to stay in their rotation the whole year. If you ask me, he hasn't looked bad at all.
No, I hope. But yeah, the Dodgers are not looking great. Like the D-backs and Padres are definitely.
Well, I feel the same way though. But the Padres don't impress me at all.
They haven't done much yet. I agree.
They're 8-11.
Yeah.
And they got a.
I think they'll get it going though. I think they'll get it going. I think they're just a slow start. I think Tatis will come back. I think they'll be Manny Machado, notoriously a slow starter. Juan Soto, notoriously a slow starter. Once these guys get cranking into June, I look for the Padres to really put a move on.
When's Tatis due?
He's doing minor league assignments now, right,
okay.
Sam?
Very soon.
Yeah. I think he hit 3 home runs the other day in a minor
league
he did.
He did.
So he'll be back. I still worry about their pitching. I think they'll go out and get maybe another arm because I just can't trust Darvish and Snell. That's never going to work. And the Giants really struggling.
Wow.
They just don't have much. D-backs are the team in that division that's the most dangerous. Rockies suck. But I think the Padres, and I think it could be Padres D-backs on top of that division. But when it's all said and done. But we'll see. How about another team, Sam, I want to ask you about, who I think is in serious trouble, are the Phillies. I think they got a lot of problems. I don't like what I'm seeing from them at all.
Yeah, I don't like it either. I don't like the contracts that they've given out. They're just comical.
They are. And
they're absolutely comical.
And Aaron Nola, to me, is not really an ace. And his contract's due the end of this year. I don't think they'll sign him. If they do, they would overpay for him. So they'll probably trade him at the trade deadline if they fall out of it. I don't see much from the Phillies. I saw they were working Bryce Harper at first base, Chris, to try to fill in for Hoskins. And then the guy that was replacing him got hurt. So it could be a tough year for the Phillies.
Yeah, 8-11 now, and they already have a -13 run differential. It's going to be a long year for Philly.
I feel like there's a lot of bad teams. I think the Braves are very good. Astros are going to be there the whole time. What do you think about the Cardinals, Sam? They haven't played well either, and their pitching's been very subpar.
Yeah, it didn't look great, man. It didn't honestly. They remind me a little bit of the Dodgers. They're kind of like old.
They are.
Like they have some good players, like Goldschmidt's.
Yeah, their corner infield's awesome. Him and Arenado. Those are two great players. But pitching's not good enough. Bullpen's
Wainwright, Contreras.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Miles Mikolas, and then Flaherty. He's coming off injury. He hasn't been very good. And then, like you said last time, Leaudier being out of there is a big loss to them. Big adjustment.
Yeah, it's
just
huge.
Getting used to not having him. He's like having a manager on the field for every game for however many years he played. Just, as far back as you can remember. Who was the last catcher that you remember, Chris, for the Cardinals? Mike Matheny before Yadier Molina took over.
Yeah, Matheny was one of them. Yeah, and then just the way baseball's been over the years. Like I remember back in the '80s, they Darryl Porter and guys like that, Ted Simmons. But Mike Matheny and then Yadier.
Yeah, it seems like that's all there's been. Sam, anybody American League that looks better than you thought, worse than you thought? I'm a little worried about the Guardians, but I always say that they just can never hit. They won again today. They won today finally. A low scoring game again. Their hitting worries me, but they always have the pitching and defense. It seems like to make the playoffs.
I don't have anything that like really worries me. I'm looking at like the Astros though. It's like let's pick it up. Start showing me the type of team you actually are.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like that AL West is just the Rangers are in the lead. I never saw that.
They're one of the teams that I saw that I think are a little bit better in watching a few of their games. I feel like they're definitely well managed now with Bruce Bochy. I think that's made them very stable. The Rays obviously started out great. They've shown signs of vulnerability. They won big today against the Reds, which isn't a surprise. But I mean, they'll be solid. I don't love them. I don't love the Yankees either. I don't think the Yankees hit well enough. I don't love their pitching. I don't know. I just don't think the Yankees are built to win the World Series. I don't think they're good enough.
I don't either. But like, do the White Sox just fucking suck?
Yeah. No, they're disappointing.
Honestly, what's up with that?
Yeah, everybody blamed Tony La Russa last year for how bad they sucked. But now he's gone and they still suck. Their bullpen is
he was sleeping in the dugout, wasn't he?
Right, he was. Yeah. I think I might be too. Yeah, White Sox have not been impressive at all. But all right, well we'll talk more MLB as the season goes on. Obviously, let's shift over to your other favorite sport, NBA playoffs. What are your thoughts? I mean, is there any team that has a full roster of actually healthy players? Because every night seems like another guy gets hurt. Thoughts overall?
No, I don't think so. But I'm loving it. I'm loving a couple of things. I like that they're lighting the beam up in Sacktown.
Yeah.
I don't think that series is over in the slightest.
Right.
Like they're the 4-time NBA champions.
Yeah.
But I do think that the Kings they're pretty legit.
Yeah, the Kings were overlooked, I feel like. I don't think they should have been an underdog in that series. And that was I tipped that out on the show and on our social last week about them in the series. I just thought they were getting no respect at plus 225. I took them plus a game and a half. As you said, the series far from over, but Draymond Green stomping on people and acting like an idiot. Once again, he puts his team at a disadvantage. Their best defender now gone for the next game.
Yeah, to no surprise, though. I mean, to no surprise.
Absolutely zero surprise.
Well, and you talked about them being underdogs, Matt. I mean, the Warriors are one of the worst road teams in all of basketball.
Yeah.
And with Draymond doing what Draymond does. I mean, wasn't that early in the preseason he punched that Jordan Poole in the face?
He knocked his own guy out.
I mean,
yep.
Anger.
He's the Vontaze Perfect of the NBA.
Yes.
He is. And he gave LeBron a title by doing that stupid thing a few years ago.
Oh, yeah. Hit him in the balls or something. And then,
changed the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
That was a sweep. It was going to be a sweep, and the moron couldn't contain himself. And I can't believe the one thing about Curry and Klay Thompson, they're pretty respectable guys. Why in the world they elected to keep him instead of Kevin Durant, I'll never understand.
I don't know.
Makes
no Unless Durant wanted to leave, I don't know how.
Well, I think he did because of Draymond, though. I bet if they'd have said we'll get rid of Draymond, you can stay.
The other thing about the guy too is okay, you do that, but then the crowd's booing you. Then you got to be making all these gestures like "Bring it on!" Just walk off the fucking court and keep your mouth shut.
His explanation afterwards was embarrassing too.
Oh, talking about his foot.
Said, I don't have a place to put it down. Well, you were already down, and then you picked it up and stomped on the guy. And they say Sabonis has like maybe bruised ribs or something now. So amazing, just incredible. Ja Morant hurt. Sam Giannis hurt. He might not play tonight. Jeez, and now the Lakers are.
It's so much is going on. Like game one of that 76ers series, Harden looks like he's MVP Harden. Right. Next game, like what, 9 points?
Yeah, he didn't.
But they said he played pretty well though the other night because he didn't or maybe it was game one, but he wasn't hogging the basketball, didn't take a shit ton of shots, and they said he actually, at least for him by his standards, played relatively good defense.
Yeah,
and I noticed that in that.
I don't know what that means.
Well, yeah, I know.
Right, he didn't get blown by every time. I guess.
But Sam, real quick, you talk about guys and their availability and not playing, even though they're not in the playoffs. But we're talking about Zion because Matt was talking about that guy that got 75 stitches in his face for hockey and come back in the game and played. And Zion is pretty much healthy, and he couldn't help his team.
He was doing tomahawk dunks in the warm-ups.
And like, I don't get it. But anyway,
totally
these NBA guys, wow, they're temperamental guys.
114 games in his career.
He's played or missed?
He's played 114 games in his career.
That's barely over one season. Like
almost, yeah.
And some guys who would go deep into playoffs would almost play that in one
Yeah,
season.
you could probably play 100 games.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
This
like
is
LeBron's played that like 8 straight seasons.
Right.
Well, that's probably is Zion. What, his 4th season now?
Yeah, he got drafted in 2019 was his first year.
Yeah.
So
That's
just do that times
114
82.
games.
Yeah, just do that times
and
82
think about
minus.
the Pelicans. I mean, not that he's any healthier, but they got rid of Anthony Davis so they would bring him in. Like, that was what their whole thing was. Like,
And
they
you
were going
know-
to part ways, and then they're going to get the next big
And
star.
he's not trying to help these guys. I mean, even when he's pretty much healthy, he's not sticking around when it's time for to
No,
he'll be out of
run
there.
him out of town.
Yeah.
Sorry for you, New Orleans.
Yeah.
At least you got a XFL team or a USFL team.
Yeah, the
cheer
Breakers.
for. Yeah, look out,
Yeah,
go Breakers!
Isn't that great?
Hey, Sam, now I want to get Chris's thoughts. Thoughts on the Cavs and Knicks series so far? Good series. I think it goes 7. What do you think?
I love it. I was watching that game yesterday. I love it, man. I think the Cavs are good. Very, very good. I love Garland. I love the calmness of the big man that they have. He's just very like mature for his young age, it seems.
Yeah.
It's not like a stupid ass Rudy Gobert, my least favorite big man ever.
Yeah.
But no, I think the Cavs are in a good spot. I think they're going to beat the Knicks.
What do you think, Chris? You feel better after last night, I'm sure.
Yeah, I do. I was disappointed with the way Mobley played in the first game around the basket. I thought there was a lot of chances that he just couldn't convert for a guy that's 6'11" with long arms. But they made a good rebound last night and pretty much dominated that game from start to finish. And the Knicks were awful, just like I thought the Cavs were awful in Game 1, even though they still had a chance to win that game. So, and when we talked about it before the playoffs started, I thought this was one of a really intriguing matchup with these two teams. They're kind of even.
Now you go to the Garden.
Yeah, and that's going to be crazy up there. That'll be.
Jeez, how about those fans though? They play at the exact same time last night, the Rangers and the Knicks, and now they're both coming back home for home games coming up. Well, I mean, they got one more in New Jersey, but
right.
Man, how would you like to be the crew at that place? That's a lot of work.
Yeah,
he's smoking a lot of cigarettes.
Yeah, a lot of energy drinks and cigarettes, or worse.
But I think the Cavs have a better backcourt, which might give them the edge.
Definitely.
But I do like that Brunson.
Yeah, he's a solid player. He really is. I think.
I think he's good. One series that I don't know what's going to happen is the Minnesota-Denver. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. Yeah. I think Denver is way better, but there's something about Denver. I'm not sure.
It's almost like Denver's kind of like maxed out earlier in the season, and they're not playing their best right now. T-Wolves are you just never know. They could look great one night and then just look horrible the next. Similar to the Hawks, I guess. That series probably done with. What do you make of the Suns and Clippers? Think the Suns are going to be okay now?
I hope, because I don't like the Clippers at all.
Yeah.
They're like one of my least favorite teams.
Yeah, Chris Paul finally got his win with Scott Foster as a referee last night, so that's a good sign for the Suns. What about Bucks Heat? That's weird now with Giannis now questionable. The Heat, who played incredibly good on offense in Game 1 for a team who sucks on offense. I still think the Bucks would maybe win the game tonight even without Giannis, but I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, I think the Bucks are better. I like the team that the Bucks have. There's like the Jalen Carters.
They do got a pretty good roster of like depth guys that I think are experienced enough that they can survive a game without Giannis and then get him back. But I mean, he fell and bruised his fucking tailbone. He should just play. Just play, man.
Milwaukee will win that game. You talking about the kid from WVU?
Yeah, Jalen Carter. Yeah.
Javon
Javon Carter.
Javon
Carter's the guy that's getting drafted.
Yeah.
The guy with the receding hairline.
Yeah.
And then is that all the series that we?
Hey, I have the Zion number. He has missed 214 career games so far.
That's inexcusable.
It's embarrassing.
Well, you already said Atlanta's probably done.
Yeah,
Philly and Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, and that one's probably toast too. Maybe Brooklyn steals one game at home. What do you think, Sam? Philly's rolling pretty good right now.
Yeah, Philly seems good. They definitely seem good. I think Atlanta sucks.
They're bad.
And I feel who's their coach? Quinn Snyder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why did he accept that? He is so stupid for taking that job.
They fired Nate McMillan for him. I don't think it's really helped much, but
no.
Whatever. All right, that'll do it for NBA talk, I think, for now. We'll keep you posted on anything else that we like throughout the playoffs and the series. So be sure and check it out on social media at the Pine Room Podcast. All right, Sam, now it's time to get down to what we really like to talk about.
Go for it.
Racing. Let's go. All right, Talladega this week, Martinsville last week. First, I want to get your thoughts. We talked about Hendrick being really good at Martinsville, how they've been on a serious roll, and they don't disappoint again. Although, I think with a few more laps left, my boy Marty Truex was charging hard.
It. I know.
And,
I know. He caught that caution. Caught that caution.
Yes, after a stupid pit road speeding penalty, though. Again, unforced errors by his team continue to be a problem for him. But I like what I saw out of his car. Larson picks it up, overtakes Logano. Thought Logano was going to spin him a few times, but Larson definitely had the better car, so I'm kind of glad that he didn't. Yeah, I mean, it was you had some guys right up in the mix there. Logano, Hamlin, Briscoe, those were good calls. None of us did particularly great. None of us had Larson, probably because of his price. It's just hard to give him out because he's just such a low price every single week. But observations from Martinsville, what do you think overall?
Yeah, a lot of what you said is pretty accurate. I mean, Larson, that was his second short track win in the 3 they just ran, which is kind of, to me, I definitely didn't see that coming. A Ricky Stenhouse Jr., that's back-to-back top 10s.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Unthinkable.
Definitely not something. Right. And then you get somebody like Ryan Preece, he gets the pole, he finishes 15. My guy, Byron, finishes 23rd.
Yeah, he didn't have a good car. He was never right all day, I didn't feel like.
No, but it's like Truex, that's top 10 2 weeks in a row for him. And like Briscoe, he led 71 laps of this race. So a lot of the things that I was looking at, they did happen in the race. Like Briscoe ran well there last year. He ran well there this year. Like the Larson thing I didn't see coming, but I liked the race. One thing I would like to point out, though, is they wasted 16 laps drying pit road. They went around the Martinsville 16 times drying. Right. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't know why I had to take that long either, but yeah, that's not a common thing. 16 laps that if my guy Truex might have had, he might have been able to track him down. Who knows? But all right, so shift. We go from one of the shortest tracks to one of the biggest tracks, Talladega, the Super Speedway, our second one of these of the year. Well, actually, I guess if you could kind of count Atlanta, but next to Daytona. This is a race that gives us a lot of options from a betting standpoint, more so than most. A lot of guys in the mix here. Let's see. I think Chase Elliott and who is the other one that won? Ross Chastain. Yeah, they were the winners at Talladega last year. Obviously, you could play that out, those two races, and there could be 20 different outcomes with the way things go. Early thoughts? Who are some of the guys you're looking at? And what do you think about this race? What it's going to shape up like here at the Geico 500 on Sunday.
Yeah. So when I was crunching these numbers here, there are 3 numbers that stood out to me that I saw repeatedly. That was the 38, the 43, and the 34. Gilliland has 2 top 10s. McDowell has 2 top 10 or 3 top 10s, excuse me, and Eric Jones has 2 top 10s in these last 4 races that have been ran here. And those, and it's a super speedway. I definitely can see those numbers, popping up in that top 10 if there's 50 to go, 30 to go.
Yes. I had the same thing. I had all 3 of those guys as super speedway. Immediately, when I know we're going to Daytona or Talladega, I'm immediately looking at guys like this. Eric Jones, 28-1. Todd Gilliland, you can find him anywhere between 60 and 90-1. Michael McDowell, about 30-1 or upward, which his price has been cut drastically since he won the Daytona 500 a few years ago. If he wouldn't have won that, he'd be like at least 60-1. Ricky Stenhouse is always a good plate racer, although I feel like he used his luck chip up, and at 20-1, I probably will pass on him. What about some of the guys, the big name guys? Who are any of them that you think could contend this week? I'll be anxious to see what you think of Chase Elliott's odds here.
I think Elliott could do pretty well. I mean, like you said, he won the second race there last year. Chastain is a name I keep seeing. He was first, fourth, and then third the year before. So he is a top 10 driver at this track. I think Chastain can get up in there easily. I mean, I see the 11 a lot here. I see 2 years of Denny finishing in the top 10, but he hasn't had a great year either. He's doing a lot of bitching. He really is.
Being an owner, that's a tough life for him, I guess. Dealing with Bubba.
Yeah, but honestly, Matt, those the 38, 43, and the 34, there's just something about them. I think if any of those, if you can find a number that you like, you could make some money.
Yeah,
I do think so.
No, I agree, and I said this on our race preview show way back whenever it was we did that. How long ago was that? I guess it would have been in February, right before the 500. Eric Almirola gets ignored at these races. He's not.
Yep.
He's as solid a plate racer as there is. Talladega, he hasn't had quite the luck he's had at Daytona, but at 28-1, I'll definitely be using him. Austin Cindric, another great plate racer, 25-1. Austin Dillon, 28-1. These are all guys I'll be playing. And then Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece always in contention at these super speedways. Had a chance to win at Talladega a few years ago, much to my chagrin, as I had him a 500-1 in an in-race bet. And he almost I was actually that race, if you remember, Chris. Denny Hamlin he cheated and went down below the line.
Yes.
And they didn't penalize him for it, and he ended up beating Preece. I had Jubb talked into that bet. Jubb had like a $5 bet to win like $2,500 or something. He was pretty pumped too, so it didn't work out. And then I think of the top guys, and Justin Haley, another guy too, great plate racer. He's 15th and a 12th the last two at Talladega, so I wouldn't count him out at about 30-1. AJ Allmendinger's run well here in the Xfinity Series. He could be worth a look. Ryan Blaney, a guy of the top guys. He's so due to win. He's overdue to win. He's ran well here. He's won here before. I'm going to take a shot with him this week as my top out of the top tier drivers. And then in the mid to second tier, going to give a shot with Brad Keselowski. I think he's due to get back. Is that your guy? Was that going to be your pick?
I was going to say. We didn't bring him up yet. I think he can do it, man. Hands up. I was the hater.
Yeah,
I was the guy, Matt. I said he needs to just retire.
Right.
I can't even believe I uttered those words.
I know. He's looked strong.
So
Chris, what are your thoughts so far?
Three guys I have on here. I mean, so far.
Or just like what anybody you like this week at Talladega?
And three guys I have highlighted. One guy I can't stand, but I think he did. You know who that is.
Oh, Bubba?
Yeah. Austin Cindric was 25-1.
Yes.
Ricky Stenhouse, and then Bubba, he's 20-1, and he won there before in the rain shortened, didn't he?
Yeah, that was a joke.
Yeah, I know.
It was literally sprinkling.
It just, to me, it just
like
feels
one
like
sprinkle an hour.
Right, exactly. So those are the three guys. I still root for the young guys. Who was it? Gragson and Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, Gragson's got to win there at Xfinity. He could. I mean, I don't know. It's just so hard for these guys to adjust.
Yeah,
he's been struggling.
Yeah, he has, and Ty Gibbs obviously separating himself. Sam, what do you see out of the Hendrick cars of Byron and Bowman this week?
I think, like when I'm looking at this card, I see Bowman was 9th last year, but I just think Byron is strong.
Yeah,
I think Byron just has the stronger car. I just think he's the best driver right now at Hendrick. Pending on how Elliott continues to rebound, because he was my pick to win it all, so he better.
Yeah, no, and I think that was a good showing for Elliott last week. A track he's done well at, battles out of top 10. Martinsville's a grueling track on the guys' bodies too, so that's a tough one to come back to. And then you get to go to this thing. So next, all right, let me ask you about Kevin Harvick. Didn't have a great week last week, uncharacteristically poor for him, which some guys would love to finish where he finished, but. Do you see him? He's 30-1. I don't know. He's never been a great plate racer. And then Kyle Busch, non-factor last week, didn't look good.
Yeah, non-factor, and I think he finished third here in the race last year, so he could do it. But yeah, he's been kind of off since he had that win earlier in the year. But a name I'm not sure is Christopher Bell.
Yeah,
Christopher Bell is a name. 2021, he finished 5th in one of those races, and I just feel like I always see his name up there when he gets to those final laps. So.
He's a very well-rounded racer. I think him and the guy you just mentioned, William Byron, very good on short tracks, good on road courses, especially Bell. And he did the dirt track. I mean, he get the win at the dirt track. I mean, he's very well-rounded. I think, and again, he contends in these plate races all the time as well. He's always in the top 10, right up in the mix. Martin Truex, not a great plate racer. I won't be taking a shot on him, but I know he's getting close to being able to win. And as you mentioned, Denny Hamlin, always strong. Joey Logano, you can never count these guys out. What'd you think of the penalty that Austin Dillon's team got? It was pretty severe. He got docked a ton of points. Just a devastating penalty. He lost his crew chief for 2 weeks, or Jesus. I think. Yeah, so it's, and I don't know if that's, maybe his team was trying to pull a fast one and Kyle Busch's didn't, and that's why his car wasn't good. I don't know. This was weird last week. What'd you think of that?
NASCAR's throwing around a lot of weird penalties.
They are.
Like teams appealing, getting these penalties getting taken away. Like Hendricks get taken away, Colleagues gets more, then they get taken away. I don't know what's going on. It's like, and I keep reading that these drivers are getting pissed about this car, and Dale Jr.'s pissed about it, and it's like, what's going on, man? We're another year, we're not happy about the car again.
Yeah. It's politics, I guess. I'll tell you one thing, and I know all those criticisms are valid for those teams and about the cars, but as far as a fan standpoint and a bettor standpoint, it's been great. There's been a wide variety of winners. There's been a lot of exciting finishes so far, I think, minus the Bristol dirt. I'll get rid of that. But the tracks have lived up to up to expectations. I've been pleased so far.
Yeah, me too. I have no complaints. I mean, the worst thing that's happened in these cars, I guess it's not funny, but, Kurt Busch, he got a concussion and he still can't race.
Right. I know. It's a shame.
I guess that's pretty bad, but...
Yeah, so speedy recovery to Kurt. I know it ain't going to be speedy enough because he may never race again, but hopefully he starts to feel better. All right, so let's go. All right, let's get your official pick on the race. Who's winning it, Sam, for you?
You know what? I'm going to go with Ross Chastain.
Okay. Ross Chastain it is. Chris?
Yeah. Christopher Bell.
All right, so you're Sam's Ross Chastain. You're Chris Bell, and I will go with Ryan Blaney, who hasn't won since the flood.
I love it, man. He just needs. He hasn't, Matt. That's pretty accurate.
Sam, when was his last victory?
It might have been that Talladega race like 2 or 3 years ago.
It really might be. I'm gonna look it up right now.
I feel like maybe he won at Darlington
That's a question
one time,
I couldn't even make
Atlanta,
up the answer.
maybe Atlanta or Darlington.
Because it has been quite some time since he was.
The guy was like top 5 in points all year last year. I mean, he's a consistent finisher.
Mets are opening up the game here.
Yeah, well, again, let's talk about the Dodgers while we're on here. Shelby Miller is closing games for you. That's a problem. That's a problem. You're not going to win.
5-2, top of the ninth. Mr. Met's got to be happy, old Jamie. He's probably finishing up his finishing touches on his mail route.
No trumpet man, but
Blaney's last win was in 2021.
Damn.
What track?
He had 3 wins. So let me see here.
I feel like one of them was Atlanta, but I could be wrong about that.
Since 2021.
Who is Riley Herbst?
He's a Xfinity driver and truck driver. He's just getting a ride in this because he's a good player.
Well, it says plus. Is this supposed to be plus 10,000?
Yeah, that's supposed to be.
Okay,
yeah, it should be 100.
Because it said 10 to 1.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I think
you guys aren't talking.
I think
about
one
it.
of them zeros got cut off.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So 2021, Ryan Blaney won at Atlanta.
Okay.
He won at Michigan and Daytona.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, he won the second Daytona, the summer race. So yeah.
Yep.
All right, we're going with Blaney this week. Let's go, Blaney. Get it done, baby. Star Wars guy. I'm a fan of his. So all right.
I got him a Nuts hat up here somewhere.
Do you? Yeah, he's
fucking love Menard.
All right, let's.
Hey Sam, real quick, did you take that T-shirt down behind you since the Penguins got eliminated?
Yeah,
Remember,
I put McCutcheon back over it. Yeah, I put McCutcheon
now he's got the clutch back in there.
Yeah,
represent.
$6.99.
Where'd you buy that again?
Kogo's in Bridgeville, right across from a gas station.
Great stuff. All right, Sam. Last week, IndyCar, interesting winner, first time ever. Kyle Kirkwood for Andretti Racing, 20-1, first career win in Long Beach. What were your observations of that race?
So I look at this top 5: Kirkwood, Grosjean, Ericsson, Herta, Palou. You cannot tell me that nothing's more competitive than IndyCar.
Right. You're exactly
I've been saying it. It's like you get new top 5s every week. I thought it was great. I mean, Andretti 1 and 2. I think that's awesome.
Yep.
The Penske guys, they were at the bottom of the top 10, the 9 and 10, which is not where I thought they'd finish because McLaughlin, man, he's been struggling.
Yeah, he hasn't had a good year. Yeah.
No, but the Kirkwood, I love it. I mean, he was strong all race. I remember mentioning him when we did our racing preview in person. Yep. Like Ericsson leading the points. Like I'm loving what IndyCar's putting out. I just wish they raced more frequently. That's my only issue.
There's too many holes in the schedule. Your guy Newgarden led 27 laps. He was strong again, and as you mentioned, both of the Andretti guys, Grosjean and Kirkwood, strong. My pick was Alex Palou. He was 5th. He led a couple of laps. Scott Dixon on a normal day for him. Mechanical failure. Rinus VeeKay had issues. Rossi had issues. But yeah, again,
the Armstrong top 10 is awesome.
Yep.
Ganassi.
There you go. Yep. And you gave us a guy under the radar last week. He wasn't as good, but he wasn't terrible. That Malakis guy.
No.
You know, but like you said, this is such a wide array of guys who could win and contend that it's hard to nail it down. And I do feel like it does a disadvantage to fans who get used to watching this, and now here we go. We had a good race last week, and now you got another week off. So that's frustrating. And they don't.
I feel like they've raced a ton, but they've raced 3 times.
Yeah, it's not enough. And then next time they go, 2 weeks to that Barber Motorsports Park or whatever. Where's that at? Alabama or something? Yeah,
Alabama.
Yeah. So and then we'll be getting close to Indy 500 time, which would be fun. We'll have plenty of in-depth discussions about that, and always
we should do something
fun
for that.
day. Yeah, always a fun race. That's a great racing day. Period. We had the triple header last week.
Yeah, we didn't mention the name of that race, the Call 811.
Before you dig
250.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, what the fuck?
Well, a lot of people must not call 811 before they dig, Chris.
You know who wouldn't call 811?
Your dad.
My dad. He'd call him after he dug up the natural gas pipes.
You're exactly right. We had a natural gas near explosion today down here in Wheeling. It wouldn't have hurt our roads at all. They're already ruined. But
where at?
Out by Sheets, out in Kroger, out in Woodsdale
down
area.
in that stretch of Nash Road by TJ's Sports Garden all the way down to.
Okay. What happened?
I think they were doing some construction down by Bob Evans, and the fucking workers busted a line or something.
They evacuated everything out.
It was closed down for quite a while. But
Jesus.
Hey, when you said something about doing something for race, we should come up sometime. Sit out back on that. You got that TV out there. We'll grill out.
Yeah.
You got a fucking smoker.
Yeah.
Smoke some
Dude,
meats.
that 28th, that's a phenomenal racing weekend.
Yeah.
We need to do something in person for a race.
Well, we will. We'll make that happen for sure. Because
yes, sir.
And time's a ticking. Who knows how long
Michael
any of us will be
McHenry's
around.
on my TV right now with a fucking broom.
Oh, good God. That's Jarrett's. That's Jarrett's boy.
Did they win 14-3 again?
Yeah.
14-3.
It's like football scores. Yeah.
Wow.
Go Bucks.
12-7.
Yeah. All right, Sam. Well, thanks for joining us as always. Any parting thoughts for the weekend of sports? Anything else on your mind before we let you roll?
Honestly, nothing really, man. I really don't have anything. Talladega I'm glad we're back at a super speedway.
Yes, and
I'm glad we're gonna be really just in a pack racing.
And next week we get Azerbaijani Grand Prix. The F1 boys are back, so we'll have early morning racing, and then IndyCar. And where do we go for Cup race next week? I don't even know. Where is it?
I'll tell you right now.
Let's see. It's April. What would it be?
Let's see.
It'd be the 30th. No.
All right.
Or something.
It's right here. It is Dover, I believe. Yep. Talladega and then Dover.
Okay, I couldn't remember if there was one more between Dover. Okay.
What's the date on that? That'd be
Dover
like the 30th.
is April 30th.
Yeah, there you
correct.
go. All right, so another good track. All right, well, that's we'll look forward to that next week. All right, Sam, thanks for joining us as always. Always a pleasure talking with you.
Thank
your
you, Sam.
insight as
Appreciate
our
it.
racing analyst, NBA analyst, MLB analyst. He's got it all covered. He's riding high. The Buccos are rolling. Things are good up in the Berg. All right, Sammy, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week, and best of luck with your wagers this weekend.
I appreciate it. See you, fellas. Go Bucks.
All right, go Bucks.
See you, Sam.
All right, that'll do it for us here on Bettor's Last Stand. Matt and Chris with you. Mark and Jarrett up at the Morgantown, West Virginia and Pitt game in PNC Park.
Yeah.
The Mountaineers of Morgantown. They're enjoying their time. Maybe Coach will be back here with us at some point on the BLS. But, Chris, you've done a hell of a job filling in. I appreciate it. NFL draft, hockey playoffs, lots going on. A good time of year. You're pretty
that'll
pumped.
be exciting next week because it'll be it'll be the day before the draft.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye out. Maybe if Jubb wants to do something, we can do some kind of streaming thing to get people some information in real time. But there's plenty of things out there to watch to keep up on it. And again, check our social media at the Pine Room Podcast. All of our stuff each week. We'll give you the best advice we can from the betting landscape. And be sure and check us out on the radio, WKKX, The Watchdog, each week, 7 hours, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. All right, that does it for us. Matt and Chris here in the Pine Room studio. Have a wonderful weekend. Best of luck in your bets. And I guess go Bucks.
Yep. Good night, all.
Have a good one.